So I just started the cloud recording. Let me start my backup recording. And for those of you who are new to COA for physics, let me just briefly explain my setup and in what sense this is backup recording. It's basically backup of my face. So as some of you might have seen the online orientation session that I post to YouTube, and I think I linked to it in one of the earlier emails. As you might have seen there, I do edit these videos and upload it to YouTube. And when I'm doing that, I found that it's useful to have recording of my face always. I don't use it always, but sometimes it's good as a reaction shot and all that. And it's really difficult to get Zoom to record my face consistently. When there's another speaker, the speaker video will usually switch over. And I've even tried doing the like a group thing, gallery view recording, which has privacy implications too. None of it really worked. So I started doing this as a backup of the video, and also it serves as a backup of the audio, because the audio that Zoom records, it's going through the internet. Every now and then there's delays, and this is the higher fidelity version of audio. And the noise cancelling software that I use, NVIDIA Broadcast, it's changed somewhat. I'm just highlighting this more as a note to myself. So this volume level used to be that 85 was just about the right volume level. It's at 80. I tried 75 in last week's virtual class session for my Physics 4A, and I'm trying to gauge if 80 is not going to be peaking. I'll leave it here, and then if it's too clipping audio too much, then I'll switch it later. Anyways, this is my backup recording. You will see me starting this at the beginning of every online session, basically, and hide it away. And my setup. So I have a two-screen setup. So you should be seeing my shared main screen over here. That's physically located somewhere here. So when when my eyes are like going over these kind of corners, I'm looking at the same thing you are looking at. And whenever it looks like I'm looking at you, I'm not looking at you, I'm looking at this camera hole that I've trained myself to look at whenever I want to give an impression that I'm making eye contact. This is the thing about the video conference that's always going to be unnatural, that in order for me to look like I'm making eye contact, on my end, I'm not actually making eye contact. I'm looking at a camera. And in fact, when I'm looking at you, the people who are here in real time, thank you for joining in real time. I'm looking at over here. That's where my second screen is. That's my setup. I have a second screen in which I have all the menu items that I need to manage this session. Oh, let me do one thing that I forgot to do. I'm gonna mute the chime thing that chimes, and I'm gonna drag the chat window briefly to the shared screen, so don't send anything in chat. So I have two other windows on my second screen. That's the Zoom main window that has all the participants, so if there are any reactions or videos on, I can see that. And so every now and then you will see me kind of glance this way during a session. That's me kind of glancing to see if there are any reactions, to watch out for any things. And when the chat window is on the second screen, also monitoring the chat screen. Let me put what's going to become my usual welcome message, and we'll start with the agenda for this session. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining in this online orientation session. If you have any questions, please unmute yourself and ask, or put your question into the chat window. Welcome. And I do want to briefly, or at length, depending on your point of view, explain the convention that I'm going with in these online sessions. And one thing you will kind of see me do both in this session and all the other future virtual class sessions is you're going to hear me talk non-stop. And that's frankly not the thing that you are supposed to do when you are teaching, like in an interactive session. And you will actually and that's one of the first things that they teach you. When I was a GSI Cal, that was, the GSI's first time GSIs go through a training, and that's like one of the first things they teach you how to basically avoid asking rhetorical questions or questions that become rhetorical accidentally because you can't outlast your student. So what they teach you is, after you ask a question, if you want a real answer, just shut up and wait for an answer. At some point, the people will become uncomfortable enough to, even when they don't know the answer, they'll try something to break the silence. And in person, when we meet in lab, you will see me do that, hopefully effectively. But online, it never worked. I've tried it. Some of the online sessions, I've tried to just being silent for a very long time. And I think basically whatever psychology makes that technique an effective pedagogical technique doesn't work in online setting. I think part of that, like some of you may be multitasking, so might not be noticing the silence if there's a silence, which all of it is fine. When I join a meeting online, that's sort of the reason I join a hybrid meeting online, so that I can multitask. So in this online meeting, because having a long enough of a silence that people feel pressure to answer, it didn't work. So I've decided to go with a different convention, which is more common in the broadcasting world, like radio and TV. More so in radio, I guess. TV is so highly programmed that this is not really a thing. But like a radio, where there's like a DJs talking or talk shows, whatnot. So radio stations are not supposed to have what they call dead air when nobody's speaking. So in these online sessions, I'm going to minimize the dead air. Which is my explanation for me just basically talking nonstop. And as I do that, I want to make sure that people don't misunderstand it as a disinvitation to questions. So I do mean seriously that if you have any questions, like if I said something that's weird, maybe nonsensical, didn't make sense, and it looks like I'm going to move on, just unmute yourself and speak. Don't feel like you are interrupting, because frankly, I'm not giving you any other choice. I'm not pausing long enough to anyone to feel like they are not interrupting when they ask a question, so just unmute yourself and ask. I do want to make sure that everyone understands that you have that standing invitation to do that in any session. Now, somehow, if you don't feel bold enough or comfortable enough for doing that, then you can always put it into the chat. Because the chat is never interrupting, and normally this will live in the second screen where I glance every now and then I can address the questions come up. Now, one thing that I do want people to know, in the interest of your privacy rights, whenever you speak, once the recording has started, then the audio is going to get captured in recording. There's no way to avoid that. And anything that you send in chat to everyone, that'll be part of the recording. Now, if you want to ask a question in a way that other people don't see it, you can change who you send it to and just change it to me. Chat messages sent privately to me are not captured in the recording. And normally, I'm going to move this back to the not share the second screen. And normally, I'm really careful about dragging this window into the shared screen. So if you send a chat message to me privately, I can see it. I can address it if it's something that needs to be addressed in a recorded setting. If it looks like it's something that I can address at the end of the session, then I will say on the recording that I'll do that, and then we'll do that. And finally, sometimes people come to these sessions wanting to address some individual issues. And this is my online office hour. That is what it's for. I think on your end, unless you are interested in some of the agenda items that we'll cover, what will probably work most effectively in terms of use of your time is joining this session either near the beginning. I usually try to join these sessions about 5 minutes before, and I start the recording about 2 minutes after. So join at the beginning, and any issues, questions you have that you don't want captured on the recording, great, ask. And if we need to start the recording later, then we start the recording later. Or join near the end. So, sometimes I may leave early, so, join 10 minutes before the session ends, but you are welcome to join near the end so that you can wait for me to stop the recording and then ask your whatever question you didn't want on recording. So that's the longish explanation of my setup. I hope That's like 10 minutes of me just talking about this session or logistics. I hope not to do this in future sessions. Let me start with the actual agenda items with the introduction. So I guess today I didn't do my own introduction before the recording. One person who's here in real time did introduce themselves, and thank you. People who chose not to introduce, that's fine. You have other places online where you can do that. Let me introduce myself briefly for those of you who aren't in my Physics 4A. And then I'll do a longer intro when I do the course demo as test students. So my name is Andrew Park. I'm your instructor for Physics 4B. This is a really fun class for me to teach because I get to use I get to pretend to use some of the multivariable calculus stuff, and this is the crown jewel. What we teach in this class is the crown jewel of classical physics, the unified theory of electromagnetism. So I like teaching this class. My only regret is I only get to teach this class once a year because we don't offer Physics 4B in spring. So I like teaching this class up, and I guess I'll say more when I do the part of my regular course demo thing. So my name is Andrew Park, your instructor. A few beginner semester notes. Let me just briefly click through this. So this was highlighted. Oh, I guess I don't have to go through that. Highlighted in the. I guess this time it's not the very first announcement, but first real proper announcement, which is this one. There's one before that that's saying class is starting in 3 weeks, which is technically first but not real first announcement. So here really the main thing I'm highlighting here is some settings I want you to make sure you have set. Oh, this is a link. Yeah, so this is my past online orientation session that you are welcome to look at if you want to. Oops, that's not let me just switch to that. By the way, neither of those are my personal accounts, so whatever recommendations they have doesn't reflect what I watch. So a couple important notes. There are certain settings, configurations I want to make sure people have. One is please make sure you are reachable by email. And if you don't use Peralta email as your main email, I get that. Please forward it. There's some short instructions here. There's also a longer set of instructions here. Outlook web has been updated since these instructions are written, so some of the screens might look a little bit different, but it comes down to you search for forwarding in the settings and enter an email that you check regularly. And I believe you can also change your preferred email in the campus solutions. That also works. Basically, whenever I need to reach out to you via email, what you will see me do is use the email that's on my roster, and that might be your Peralta email, the one that ends with cc.peralta.edu, or that might be the email address you set as your preferred email in Campus Solutions. So please make sure you are reachable by email, because frankly that's my first backup method to reach out to you when I can't reach you. Now as the lab starts, people who I don't see in lab, people who I don't see on Canvas, people who don't respond to me, I might eventually call them, and I don't want to do that too often because it takes a lot of time and effort on my end. So please make sure you are reachable by email. Now I call it the first backup method because usually I'll be reaching out to you through Canvas way of contacting you. It's a kind of matter of organizing communications because we all use email for other things too, and things that are related to course, I prefer to kind of keep it organized within the learning management system. Now, for you to make sure that you receive all the important notifications, there are certain notifications that I really want you to set as notify immediately. You can change or review those settings by going to notification setting, use this link, or through the profile picture and then notifications. And there you can see your notification setting. You will see my own setting. That's what I recommend. You can set it at account level or at individual course level. At course level, I think that's too complicated. I just I do it account level. And what I recommend is actually set everything as notify immediately. As you use Canvas, you will figure out what bugs you, and things that bother you, like with too many notifications, you can turn it down. So I used to have all submissions as notify immediately. Now it's a daily summary, because once I had it notify immediately, I realized I'm going to get notified of every submission, both early and late. So I do still have late submission as notify immediately, so that I can kind of get a sense of who's catching up. But you know, once something's bugging you, then you can turn it down. Now, I do realize you may be taking other online classes other than this one. So the way some other instructors use graded discussion, sometimes these can get really a lot. So if you want to turn those down, I get it. Now, there are certain communications that are so important that I would strongly recommend that you set those as notify immediately. One is conversation message. So even though I will, on most course related matters, I'll be reaching out to you through Canvas message. I kind of want it to work like email, that where you get notified via email or other things that you regularly check outside of course. And for that to work like an email, you need a conversation message notification as notify immediately. Otherwise, you know, it doesn't work as an email. You only see the message when you log into Canvas. Maybe you log into Canvas often enough that'll work, but I ask you to consider setting it as notify immediately. One. And two, announcement. Like announcement for this session and like welcome to week one. Because this is so early in the morning on Monday of the first week of the 14-week session, I posted it yesterday evening. But even so, unless you have announcement as set as notify immediately, you may sometimes miss those announcements. Like if it's set as daily summary, it wasn't on purpose, but I think the announcement got posted after the daily summary already went out. So daily summary means sometimes there might be up to 24-hour delay in when you get notified of announcements. Now, I do try not to announce anything where you have only 24 hours to act. So while it won't cause big issues, still why introduce the delay if you don't have to? So even though, you know, I posted the agenda here, I did tell you in this earlier announcement about this orientation session in the time. So yeah, so yes, I feel okay about keeping to that rule. And the third thing, it took me a while to figure this out, and I think the way the assignments are set up this semester, it won't matter as much. But basically, any Canvas assignment, if I leave like a grading feedback where I want you to do something differently, unless you have submission comment enabled, you won't see those messages. So you should really set it as notify immediately. Otherwise, like the only place where you would see them is if you're in the gradebook or something, and those are terrible. So like if it has to be daily summary, great. But you need to set it as some level of notification so that you get basically grading feedback. Now, for my open math assignments, it works a little differently. So, and most assignments are my open math assignments. So this is becoming less important, but I would still strongly recommend that you set it as notify immediately. Now, there's a fourth and last thing I mentioned here that I would like you to consider setting at some level of notification, you know, ideally notify immediately. That's for discussions. And like a recording for this orientation session and future virtual class sessions, I found the best way to organize those is by posting it as a new discussion topic so that it doesn't clutter up the course announcements. And you won't get notified of new topics unless you have this notification set. And I get that with some of the other discussion items, you might want to turn it down if you are taking other online classes where there's like tons of replies that you don't really want to read. I get that. But new topic is different. You only get notified when someone is posting a new topic. So if you want to receive recordings of these online sessions as a notification, then please consider setting a new topic as some level of notification, ideally notify immediately. And I have a second reason I want people to set this as notify immediate, the new topic notification. It's because this our discussion is set up so that any student can actually post a new thread. People can just post a new thread here, like test student can. And this will only work as a communication mechanism if most people in the, or critical number of people in the class have their notification settings set for new discussions. And I don't think this will impact any of the graded discussions because those won't be new topic. So if you have other more annoying online classes you're taking, the new topic notification is the one that won't annoy you so much. So I would ask you to set it as notify immediately or some level of notification. So those are the Canvas settings that will ensure that you receive important course messages. And I think that's all of this item. Let me check introduction. So one of the reasons I post these agendas is both for you to know if what I plan to cover, so that you can make a judgment call for yourself if it's worth attending in real time, and two, it's an organizing tool for me so I don't forget anything important. I said my brief intro, I went over this, yeah, and I think that's it. So I want to use most of the remaining time in this session doing course demo. Let me do a couple things. So one, I will do this first. At some point I might just swap the order of these agenda items because I always do the course demo last. Reminder of Tuesday's in-person lab session, and I try to say this in a couple different places. I think in this class I don't say it in the syllabus. Yeah, so this is our street address. So don't go to the main campus. And I think for someone who's working through the module items, I think somewhere you see that maybe it's possible that I don't have it anywhere coming up early enough. I'll try to put it in an announcement so that I can say that I told you that we are the A60 Atlantic Avenue is our street address. Yeah, I'll put it in an announcement somewhere. I might have already put it in an announcement here. Yeah, but I'll do it again. So reminder of Tuesday's in-person lab session. It's just 6 p.m. There's some survey I want people to fill out, and we won't do any physics lab tomorrow, the first meeting, but it is the meeting at which I figure out who is able to attend our in-person lab, and people who are not there will get these messages saying, do you plan to stay in the class? So now if you have some emergencies, some reason you can't be there, please let me know so that it saves me basically a message reaching out, are you planning on staying in class? That's one. Two, feedback on virtual class session and office hours. I guess I forgot to do this before the recording started. Let me do this. I'm going to publish this particular quiz item, that survey, and I guess I will invite those who are here in real time. So let me publish it here, and I will include a link to the survey in the announcement saying the recording is available. And for people who are here, what I want to invite you to do, maybe in the chat as a private message, if that's how you feel comfortable, if any of these times don't work for you well. So I hope to do, or I plan to do, regular virtual class session where I cover some course-related content that I haven't yet. Right now it's scheduled for Friday, 2 to 3 p.m. I will in fact hold that one this coming Friday, and actually 1 week from this Friday I have to temporarily reschedule it. But this is the regular time that I would like to hold it at. And somehow if you want to attend the session on a semi-regular basis and this time doesn't work for you, let me know so that I can consider other times. And for the in-person office hours, I have kind of mix of them. So I'm teaching physics 4C at Laney College this semester. So I have a couple office hours that's meant to serve people who are at Laney College Monday and Wednesday, 12 to 1. At COA, my in-person office hours scheduled right now is Tuesday 4 to 5, basically right before your lab. But 5 to 6, I kind of block of that time, so it's 4 to 5. But I will basically be here 5 to 6. I may be, setting up lab. And Thursday evening time, this is what I tried last semester and worked reasonably well. Now, I will, in the interest of full disclosure, I do have someone in Physics 4A who requested that this be scheduled earlier, like Thursday 4 to 5. And if I see people not making use of this time, then I will probably, move it up earlier. So, anyways, so if you can also give your feedback to me in this survey here. But for those of you who are here in real time, if you want to put it into chat, I can see it. If it's something I can address now, I can address now. So with that, I think, and I will. And now that the survey has been published, there's one place where you can see it, but because it's the one place that I want you to ignore, I will give you another way to access the link. So with that, let me become test student and go through the course demo. This is main use for this demo is every semester I have people who struggle with a certain aspect of this online class, and it's nice to have this demo video so that I can tell people, hey, watch this demo video which explains some of the aspects of the online class that some people have found difficult. And actually in this sidebar you can see that a lot of things have been disabled here. You don't have link to assignment, no link to quiz directly, no link to pages, and it's really for two reasons. I want to keep the sidebar clean, short, really only the things you need, and one. Two, I want you to have only the things I want you to be able to access. So assignments, I don't want you to be able to just skip to the assignments. That's why it's disabled here. And that's really why this to-do bar that you have, I frankly want you to ignore it, because I think this causes more confusion than anything. Because people will, look at this sidebar and think it says, it says to do, so you think, oh, that's something for me to do, and you find the assignment links here. You click on it to do it. I middle clicked, so it'll open here, and then you see this. It says it's hasn't been unlocked yet, so you write a message to me, hey professor, this is due in an hour, and could you unlock it for me, something's wrong. And I contend that this sentence is an incomplete sentence. It's in passive voice, hasn't been unlocked, passive, and it's missing an agent. It hasn't been unlocked yet by you, because there's nothing I can do as an instructor to actually unlock it for you specifically. I can unlock it for the entire class, but I don't want to do that. There's nothing I can do to unlock it for just one student. Really, what you have to do to unlock this item, it is described here. So, if you read through the error message, then you will see, oh, I need to do these things myself to unlock this for myself. But I think if you are using the mobile Canvas app, sometimes mobile Canvas app won't tell you this fuller error message. It will just say it's locked, and that's where one, I recommend that you use a web browser. I think mobile Canvas app has gotten better, but there are certain things where it does weird things. If something in the course doesn't appear to be working, I just say please take a look at the course using a web browser, because sometimes there are these error messages that you will see in a web browser but not in the mobile Canvas app. So reading the full error message, you could go to this page, click on this link, and view the page. You can definitely do that. And so this is the reason I want you to ignore the to-do sidebar, because it will give you access to links, but link isn't the same thing as access to actually. So this you can actually access right now, but because I want you to ignore the whole thing, I'll just not tell it to use the link. Link doesn't mean access, because this course is designed to be viewed through modules, and I've set module requirements to make sure people go through the course in a linear sequence, so that you know where all the course resources are. So the way this page is designed is for people to land on this beautiful home page read through the messages here. Welcome to Physics 4B, and then please click on Start Here. At least the first time you are here. If you click on Start Here, it'll basically take you to this very first page in the modules. So this is the one page. You can access. So this is, now it'll work the first time. The next times to keep coming to this page would be probably annoying. So don't click on Start Here every single time. Like going through this, it's gonna be annoying. Now so right now you are seeing me demonstrate the level to which module requirements in modules constrain what you can do, or frankly doesn't constrain, because you are seeing me basically clicking through these pages, not doing anything, obviously not reading. Like I am a speed reader, but I'm not that fast of a speed reader. With only a couple seconds spent on page, and I'm not actually reading through it. It's something you can do, as in I didn't technologically block you from doing it, but it's not something I recommend. It's mostly a matter of how much effort am I willing to put in to ensure that someone does certain things I would like them to do, but like, is it worth the extraordinary effort to make sure that you do the things that I wish you would do? Now, every now and then, certain items are worth that extraordinary effort. And that's this first item you see here, honor code pledge. So up until now, the module requirement have been a view requirement, and view just means your web browser loaded a page. That's why. So as I recommend in the home page, this class is designed to be viewed through the modules view. So modules, there's a link here. There's also a link in the sidebar. So if you go to modules, that's where you will see all the items that I want you to look at with the module requirement. All these pages that I just clicked through, their module requirement was view. So once the web browser loaded it, then whether you read it or not, the module requirement was satisfied, you could move on. And these are basically, pages where it has information that I want you to be aware that they are there. Ultimately, if you, refuse to read it, like I've done my part, like my hand is clean, having made all these things available to you. Like if you refuse to read it, hey, no shirt off my back. I don't know if that's the right expression. Now, there are some items I want to make sure that people actually read it through. So this is the one item where I want you to make sure that people actually read it through. So you actually have to do the honor code pledge before you can properly access the next graded discussion. Until you do that, you can see the instructions here. So let me do the honor code pledge, and this will also be an opportunity for me to address some ways in which people do this wrong. People who are in my Physics 4A, you will know not to do this wrong because you've seen me demonstrate in the previous online orientation session, and also in the lab session I demonstrated how, when I graded this manually, how I know someone has done it basically incorrectly. So one of the ways people might do it incorrectly, maybe through a force of habit, is just typing your name. Please don't do that. That's not the instruction. It says, please type the below indented text in the answer box, replacing name with your own name. It doesn't say type your own name only. Basically, I want to make sure people have read through this block of text. That's why I'm saying type it. Now, I think, so I'll address this in more depth, at length in the lab session. I think sometimes, especially at the level of this class, sometimes I get these students who I think have gotten into habit of cheating. You've gotten used to online classes where you can basically cheat your way through, and you've gotten so used to it that you don't know any other way. So even though I warn you multiple times, type, not copy and paste, type, not copy and paste, like it'll be considered cheating if you copy and paste. Some people have gotten into such a habit of cheating that I think there's some mental thing where you can't do anything but cheat. And so in the lab session, I will demonstrate how I know when someone has basically violated the honor code for the class, the first week of class. So far, no one's done this yet. I graded 10 or so submissions that that people have made. There was one person who started to do this, and I think all these warnings made them think otherwise, and erased it and redid it. So in the lab session, I will demonstrate for you how I know when someone's done the thing that I said would be cheating. So please don't cheat. And really, the grading system for the class is set up in a way where people have no way to benefit through cheating. I've really put in most of the burden of assigning the grades for A and B in the required one-on-one meeting. And then that's the one setting in which I'm like 100% confident that I can gauge your understanding of physics problem solving. That people who merely cheat their way, or people who are merely trying to cheat their way through an online lecture class like this one, you will end with a C. You will not even be able to get a B. Now, I've seen last semester where people maybe start out that way, but then they realize that there's no other way to get a B or A other than through actually learning how to solve physics problems. And people have gotten B's, and one person even got an A, like having started on the wrong foot. So I do want and part of that is the earlier you realize that the only way to earn an A or B is through the actual work of understanding physics, the better chance you will have. People who are in my Physics 4A class know that, and I will do more of this demo in the lab session for the benefit of people who are new at COA. So let me do this properly. Now, normally I do this through typing, and I also demonstrate that I know how to multitask by typing one thing while saying other things. But I want to try something new because I've been using voice typing more in my workflow, and I realized someone could do this through voice typing, and I actually won't be able to catch what I'm pretty sure. Well, I think there are signs I can look for to see if someone's used the voice typing, but ultimately I don't think I mind, because the main thing I want you to make sure is that people paid some attention to this block of text. So let me use voice typing. So I will enable voice typing. Oh, I gotta click that. Oh, I, comma, test student, comma, will, colon, enter. Oh, I don't know how to do new line. Make submissions that represent my own work, comma, not share my own work and solutions with anyone else except where explicitly allowed, comma, not engage in plagiarism, comma, not use outside resources during open book timed assessments, comma, and not engage in any other activities that dishonestly improve my results or dishonestly damage or improve the results of others, period. New line. I pledge this on my honor, period. So I can imagine someone, I can imagine someone using voice typing, and ultimately I don't think I mind. There are certain things I can look for to see if someone's used the voice typing, but now I can imagine someone now tying this with another way to, I don't know, go out of their way to not read this block of text, do a text to speech, have a machine read it, and then have another machine do voice typing. At some point, it's probably not worth that much effort to cheat. I mean, I don't know. It's the I try not to use the word cheat when I can't actually detect things reliably. Because I don't want to be making false accusations of cheating, but it's like a cheating in spirit, if not letter of the law. Here, actually, in some sense, in some sense, I actually cheated in the strict letter of the instructions, because it said type. It didn't say use voice typing, but it's like in that gap. But I thought about it, and I think. I'm actually okay with someone completing this assignment this way. And I will demonstrate in the lab session what this looks like to me, your instructor, as I grade. So I tested this out, although not on a computer, with a tablet for Physics 4A, and it actually looked fine. So now this is unlocked. I can actually do a proper introduction. So let me do this introduction here I will do this as my longer introduction as your instructor. So here I won't do it as test student. It'll be as myself. Yeah. So, hi. My name is Andrew Park. Whenever you see test student in these graded discussions, which won't be very many this semester, it's me, your instructor, clearing module requirements for the test student. Mainly because it's a really hard requirement to clear. Contribute. The only way to reliably clear it is by having test student actually contribute. And my preferred name is Andrew. If you feel uncomfortable doing that, I think some of you may be in high school still. Then Mr. Park is fine. Dr. Park is wrong because I never finished my PhD program. So I'll answer the prompts with some of the details changed so that it applies to me as someone who's teaching the class. So so I'm teaching this class, not taking it. I'm your instructor, not classmate. And I teach this class as part of my full-time teaching load at COA, and I do wish I could teach this class more often. Like if we had enough students where we could offer physics 4B every semester instead of once every year, I would do that. But yeah, and the fall semester is the semester in which COA offers physics 4B in a way, not competing over scheduling the class when classes at Merit College, etc. are considered. So that's the first question. Why are you taking it or teaching the class? Choose one of the following to answer. I'm trying to think of which questions. I'll answer this one. What is your intended major? I guess I'll answer intended major question with the necessary details changed. I'm a teacher, not a student anymore. When I was at Cal as undergrad, I double majored in mathematics, pure math, which frankly was a mistake, mainly because there wasn't enough overlap. So I had to take more upper division classes than I normally would have had to. Like I would have done applied math and maybe try to do triple major with chemistry if I could go back and remake those decisions. Double majored in mathematics and physics. I was always better at physics than math, and I also liked physics better. In graduate school, also at Cal, the research group I was part of was an experimental AMO, atomic, molecular, and optical physics research group, and a lot of my research area involved dealing with lasers and some cryogenic environments, i.e. an optical cryostat in which we had cold silver vapor we were working with. Alright, that's probably longer than it needs to be. So yeah, any other questions? Please let me know. I'm excited to meet, see you all tomorrow in lab. Alright. After I reply, I'm gonna be very careful to like scroll up as quickly as possible, because that way I can avoid having to blur out your names. Because again, I edit these videos and post it on YouTube, and the YouTube version of the video, I want to make sure that I don't violate FERPA. Directory information can be shared, but like with the like people, I mean, yeah, it's there's if I can skip showing your names, it's better. So that's the getting started module. Now finishing this will unlock two different things for you. Actually, sorry, three different things for you. It will unlock the first 2 weeks lecture item. That's one, and it'll unlock the lab module. So this is one of the things that in the mobile Canvas app, sometimes the way the app displays things, people don't realize that this has been unlocked, because seeing this items locked, you think if you scroll down further, you won't see unlocked item. But the lab module, its prerequisite is only the getting started module. So so lab module is already unlocked once you finish getting started module. And I think the mobile Canvas app doesn't show the actual module prerequisite. And it also unlocks this mechanics review item, which it's optional. It's really made available for the benefit of people who may have taken physics 4A some time ago, or even if you took it in spring, there was a long summer session and people talk about learning loss during the long breaks. So if you want to take some time kind of reviewing some of the homework questions that you hopefully if you took physics 4A here, you remember seeing these questions, take some time to do them again, great. That's what this set is for. I will tell you, I picked some of the more challenging questions. If you find that you can't do all the questions, that's fine. I think someone who can do more than 50% of the questions without too much trouble, you're in good shape. You don't need to be able to do all 16 questions well. If you can do 8 out of 16 without too much trouble, then you're fine. Anything else that needs review, I will kind of review it as we go. I think dot products and cross products, as they come out, we'll review it again and all that. So yeah, that finishing and getting started the module unlocked 3 modules. Of those 3, let me spend some time with the lecture. Mainly because I made some change to this graded discussion. For those of you who are in my Physics 4A last semester, it'll actually be new to you. There's something that's different here that I want to demonstrate. So let me just unlock through here. Let me do this in a slightly more proper way than sometimes how I do. Sometimes I do this demo where I go through lecture 1 and 2 in a way that's frankly not what I recommend the people do. But let me do this in a way where I'm just gonna excuse the test student from it. So I'm just doing that on my second screen here, so I don't accidentally show a real student's scores here. So let me get the test student excused, and I need to excuse also the second one for test student. And this is what I mean. There are certain things I can do as an instructor. I can excuse people out of assignments, but that contribute requirement on the graded discussions, that's one thing that sometimes when I excuse people out of it, it works, but sometimes it doesn't work. So I never could figure out how to consistently let people skip those requirements. So here, now I still need to view this page as test student, but I've been excused. And so when I go back to modules, it'll show that those module requirements that were based on scores, they are cleared because I've been excused out of those. I wanted to spend some time, like we have 8 minutes, showing this use of generative AI graded discussion. So this discussion serves 2 purposes, or maybe 3. One is kind of, I guess, as a fair notice. We all know generative AI exists. I think 2 years ago, people who weren't following news might have missed it. I think by now, if you tell me you've never heard of ChatGPT, It's like you telling me you've never heard of Google. So I don't believe you. So this is a tool that we all know exists. It's like calculator. It's like computer algebra system. It's a tool that can help you. It can also be misused. It can be more easily misused than calculators and computer algebra system. We both, you as a test student should know they exist, and you should know that I know that it exists. So that's one purpose. Two, I think generative AI really has gotten better. Since first it came out 2.5 years ago when it really, broke into news. So I think GPT 3.5 was released in November of 2022. Like the spring semester after that was when it was in the news because it was generating all these essays that were really highly polished. The spring of 2023. And fall 2023 is when I started doing this discussion because it was beginning to answer physics questions well, and and in fact I have a series of YouTube videos that I've recorded as part of the virtual class session. That's I guess I should have actually gone this way. We have a channel, COA Physics. So if you want to see some of those demonstrations of using ChatGPT as a tutor, then there's this, and you've seen me do this. Those of you who are in my Physics 4A last semester, you've seen me do this with that last semester. Now, over the summer, as I was thinking about what could I improve, change, do better, I realized, every one of these sessions, I'm starting out with kind of a fixed prompt that's basically designed to tell ChatGPT, I know that most people like having all the answers right away. I'm different. I would rather you not answer everything right away because I'm here to learn. I'm here to prepare for the required one-on-one meeting. And I realized some of the things that OpenAI has, custom GPT, one of the ways it's meant to be used is exactly that. So I created a custom GPT for this class, and as I was preparing for that in the summer, OpenAI also released something they call study mode, which is basically, a mode that's designed to do the thing that, that I was trying to do with the custom GPT. Because when you open ChatGPT in this study and learn mode, it'll basically try to avoid giving you the final answer right away, or it'll ask you follow-up questions. It'll basically be trying to act as a tutor, trying to teach you the material, not as an answer database. So in this updated prompt, I'm giving you two options. Now, both of these new things that I want you to try will require a ChatGPT account. It can be a free account, but it requires an account. If you don't want to create an account, that's fine. Skip to option B and do that. But I do want you to try option A. If you want to do the study mode, which is frankly better supported because OpenAI is what is it? Their valuation must be like hundreds of billions of dollars. It's a big organization, well supported. Now, one kind of advantage of the class GPT is it has some information that only this can have. It has my lecture note summaries. So I'll demonstrate more of that in the virtual class session this Friday, but let me kind of demonstrate what I mean. It has more information. So for example, so we are covering ideal gas law in class, and I'm seeing an equation I don't recognize. I remember PV is equal to nRT from my chemistry class, but that's not what I see in homework. Can you help? Now, something like this, I'm pretty sure vanilla ChatGPT can also help, because it's intuitive enough, it knows physics well enough that it knows different forms of the ideal gas law. This is the one that requires Avogadro's number. I avoid that in this class, so I'm gonna be using this. Now, all of this, the regular vanilla ChatGPT probably could give you this answer too. Now, I didn't test this out ahead of time. Let me give this a try and see what happens. Okay, is there a lecture I can watch to try to get a handle on this better? The reason I'm hesitating a little bit is this is the type of question where this hallucinates more often than normal. But yeah, so this is the way in which vanilla ChatGPT cannot answer. It doesn't know what lecture 2 is in our class. But this COA Physics GPT, it has access to the lecture summaries. It's on work in progress. I've put it together through end of electrostatics. So through end of electrostatics, it has lecture notes that it can refer to, and it'll that's basically the additional information that this custom GPT has access to. That I'd like you to give it a try, and you can do it as part of this assignment, and you will basically see me alpha testing this custom GPT throughout this semester in the virtual class session. One last thing as a kind of caveat: if you ask it a question that's too difficult to answer, it'll just hallucinate and make up an answer. Right now, because it only has access to basically half the lecture titles, if you ask it the list of lectures in Physics 4B, it struggles because it realizes that it only has half the material. There's missing half. It doesn't know, so it'll just make up answers. So let me do this. Okay. Can you give me a list of lectures in Physics 4B so that I can plan out my study for the semester? This is the question that I know it doesn't answer well. First few lectures it might do okay, and then it'll go off the reservation and start making up lecture titles. Now, in fact, this is, so it might know in what weeks we cover what through the access to syllabus that it has. So actually these are right. Is that? Oh wow. So these are actually right. Okay. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that in the syllabus. But lecture 3 is still on thermodynamics, so when we skip ahead to electrostatics, I want to be sure I'm watching the right lecture. This is a question I haven't asked it before. Lecture 2 is yeah. Skip. So if we are skipping lecture 3, which lecture starts cover in electrostatics? Maybe it will answer this correctly. I think this is actually wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's wrong. Lecture 3 starts like thermal processes and things that are relevant to heat engine. That's what will come back to the end of the semester. And so it's making up stuff. Like it's not lecture 4. You can see in your modules, and then you go to next week. It's actually lecture 7 that starts electrostatics. And you can see right now I'm in instructor view, but you can also see that as sorry, I don't know why it's doing that. You can also see that as student view. So this is the reason I recommend the modules view. Even on the items where you haven't unlocked yet, you can still see the kind of the titles, what you'll be required to do once you get there. So it's lecture 7 that starts. So this, I just wanted to give this to you as a warning. If you ask this custom GPT questions that it frankly doesn't know how to answer well, it'll just make up answers. It's called AI hallucination. So just don't trust everything it says. If it says something weird that affects you negatively or potentially affect you negatively, please send me a message so that it'll help me troubleshoot. There's a system prompt that I'm working with throughout this semester as I'm alpha testing this custom GPT. So I think that's everything we have time for. We've lost some people who are here in real time. Again, thank you so much for joining in real time. And people who are joining by recorded video, that's perfectly fine too. Again, this is attendance optional. The only meetings where I actually do care about attendance is your in-person lab. That's the one meeting where I do want people to attend as much as you can, both this session and the virtual class session. If you find it helpful, if as you're attending you feel like you can ask questions and influence the flow of the meeting, great. That's really the situation in which I recommend that you consider attending in real time. Otherwise, recording kind of gives you the same information that you can get from elsewhere. So let me say goodbye to people joining by recorded video, and I'll stay online briefly in case people who are here in real time had any questions they wanted to ask, just not on the recording. And I will see everyone tomorrow in the in-person lab session. So bye to people joining by recorded video.
Recording stopped.
And let me stop my backup recording.